Hello and welcome to the Warhammer Meta Chasers. We are your weekly live tournament show running down the biggest and best tournaments for Warhammer 40,000 coming up on the weekend. Can't wait to jump right in. My name is Paul, your host. I'm joined by Adam Camilleri.
Good day, everybody.
And Dustin Henshaw.
Good eye.
As mentioned, we do this live. We also have some great folks in the chat. Thank y'all for very much joining us. Nurgle, Matt, Dorian, Erwin, Taryn, I see you. What's going on? Hope you're having a great day no matter where you are in the world. We know those folks are all over the place, and we are worldwide. Got two great events to talk about this week. We got the Glasshammer Major and the combination of 4 other grand tournaments. So technically 5 tournaments to talk about.
There it is.
2 distinct segments.
There you go.
Before we get to, something kind of silly. How are y'all doing?
Yeah, that second one, I struggled, and I didn't. There was a bunch of events around the 60 to 70 player mark, and I didn't want to just pick one. And plus, this gave me the opportunity to kind of mash 4 corners of the globe together. So there's 2 European events, a US event, and an Australian event, all mashed together in 260 plus players in total. So we're getting a little glimpse of the total world meta, not just the regional stuff, which we usually highlight.
Loving it. First event we're going to be talking about is the Glasshammer Major. This is from Nottingham, England. So, the base of the home of Warhammer, with 114 players competing over 5 rounds. Dustin, what are we going to see there?
We are going to be seeing in the Imperial Super Faction, there are 3 Sisters of Battle, 5 Custodes, 5 Astra Militarum, 1 Grey Knight, and 8 Imperial Knights. The numbers are spiking. They're coming. Space Marines, there's 12 Adepts Astartes, 6 Dark Angels. Wow, okay. 2 Space Wolves, 5 Blood Angels, 1 Black Templar, and 2 Death Watch. Chaos was 4 Chaos Space Marines, 7 T-Suns, 8 Death Guards, 7 World Eaters, 1 Emperor's Children, 2 Demons, and 8 Chaos Knights. Xenos, there's 2 Necrons, 3 Orcs, 4 Tau, 2 Votan. Hive Mind, there's 3 Tyranids and 1 Gene Stealer Cult. It's probably Innis, isn't it?
There he is.
Sorry. Eldari, there's 3 Drukhari and 6 Eldari, meaning the faction podium is Adeptus Astartes, topping it off with 12, and then Death Guard, Chaos Knights, and Imperial Knights tied in second with 8, and then T-Suns and World Eaters tied in third with 7. That second podium spot there, I feel, is like pretty indicative of what's coming in the meta and what you need to be ready to deal with.
Yeah, those are the three skewed lists that you need to find a solution for within your codex to have a good run at a 100 player GT. In my opinion, it's like Death Guard, Imperial Knights, Chaos Knights. Really amazing that Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights sitting with the same numbers. That's fantastic. I wish I had a little bit more time, and I might go back and check out all those Chaos Knight lists, because I'm so intrigued by where people are choosing to start with these guys. Mostly because if you have a Chaos Knight army, chances are you don't have 5 big knights. If you have an Imperial Knights army, chances are you don't have 10 armigers or whatever, or you might by now. But all the Chaos Knight armies have been all dogs. So are people still playing all dogs, and the hobby lag is going to catch them up to the 5 bigs or 3 bigs, whatever it is.
The Abominates are too attractive, and then
everybody's been really high on the Abominates.
I'm less high on the A-bomb than many, and I still think he's pretty good.
I mean,
I'm
come on, Free Mortals, just by looking at you. Like,
I do like Free Mortals, but the big knights really need mortals. They have tank shock. They already do mortals. They really need to.
I'm just like 10 more points gets me a Rampager. 10 more points gets me a double gun despoiler. So I could have 10 more points and have a knight that is like super fit for purpose and does one thing ridiculously well, like double thermal, double Gatling, double battle cannon. All these things are fantastic. Or like a Rampager, literally just like throw something into the sun. Did you make the charge move? Pick your model up. It just is that freaking great. So yeah, I'm like 10 more points to get something that is just like infinitely better at one job rather than the bomb that's kind of okay at like 3 jobs.
Yeah. Will be nice to see how they do for sure.
I'm super keen. In fact, I've got a teams event coming up, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to play CK for it, but I might play IK. We'll see what my team makes me do. But one or the other. All right, I have pulled out 2 lists for our viewing pleasure. Some anecdotes on the field. Very low on the guard. Very low on the guard for this part of the UK, this part of England. Whereas the Adeptus Astartes numbers are stonking. Yeah, only a single Emperor's Children.
I mean,
that is actually a story here, because
brand new army.
They're doing well. Well, okay. Let's talk about why, though. Right? With the influx of the Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, that is probably one of the hardest thing that Emperor's Children lists generally have to deal with.
Look, we
And that
just
is
saw
heaps.
Mauler Fiends punch their way through all the demon business.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the-
it's true. We
Although,
just saw that at Edmonton, but
yeah, I mean of course, Pilot's
Pilot,
not a great player,
yeah,
and and then like Mauler Fiends are a choice, like they significantly are a choice. But I think you might be dead on though with like when you're firing just a bunch of sonic blasters into a bunch of Night Chassis, that doesn't get the job done.
no, and it is that middle bracket, that Death Guard, Chaos Knights, and Imperial Knights. They all give Emperor's Children problems. High toughness, good save. That high toughness 2+ save is the thing that wants to ruin Emperor's Children's day, because they don't have a huge amount of strength to wield for most of their attacks. That usually top out at strength 8 or strength 7 with Lance. So 4s is what you're building with, and then you got to work your way into the rerolls. And one of the biggest issues with Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights is you play in the Coterie of the Conceited, which is the kind of go-to detachment, needs to get like 3 or 4 kills before your army starts getting rolling. Well, if you've got 3 or 4 kills, you're already winning the game against Knights.
And your opponent has no more models left.
You have one. So either you have no buffs and you played extremely well, or you've tabled them and good job on your rerolls. Now there's nothing to hit. So yeah, they're kind of a rock and a hard place.
That's a really great point about that, the preferred detachment just not slotting well into this, and then combining it with the fact that for that, if you're going to punch into that meta, no pun intended. Or maybe I didn't. I'm going to lean into the pun.
That was intended, fully intended.
Yeah, it's like you may not have the models yet for that.
Yep. Grey Knights is another one that's in a bit of the dumpster. Grey Knights have been highly abandoned at the moment, and I'm not quite sure why. People are saying they're doing really badly, and I can't see it. I look at what Grey Knights wield, and I'm like, this sounds okay. I mean, obviously, unfortunately, you're leaning heavily, more heavily into Dread Knights once again, but Dread Knights do fantastic into Knights. They hold up just fine into Death Guard, and they've got great save mobility and durability. So. Yeah, the interesting one here is the Astartes. So in metas gone past in England, we have seen Blood Angels over and above all other comers. And then we saw a considerable switch back to Adeptus Astartes vanilla. And I was expecting that to be much more distributed now, but they're still holding tough at the in the Adeptus Astartes pure over in England. But then Dark Angels taken a little bit more than Blood Angels, and then a lot more than the rest. And that to me speaks to the fact that we know UKTC is a little better. It's about 10% to 15% better for shooting armies compared to contemporary terrain choices. So WTC is 15 to 10, 15% better for the more aggressive armies, so the staging armies, and then GDub's a little bit more in the middle. So you could almost say, if you're playing on UKTC, Dark Angels and Adeptus Astartes. If you're playing WTC, better off playing Blood Angels, maybe even Templars or Space Wolves when their book finally hits, which is this weekend. And then if you're playing on GDub, crapshoot, take whatever you want. And so that's kind of holding serve here in England as well. So that was an interesting bit. But 2 lists from 2 very, very good players. And I'm betting probably one of these 2 guys is going to win this or podium this. First up is Nassim Hussain with his Astra Militarum combined arms. Now, always good to have a look at Astra Militarum, especially when everyone's just like flocking away from them at the moment. They did take some hits, but I didn't think those hits that they took were in any way a death knell. And Nassim is back to show us why. Starts off with a Caning command squad with Grand Strategist, 2 Rogel Dawn tank commanders, and 2 Tech Priest Engine Seers, which is a brand new take.
I do hope that they do this do really well in this list, because I've been a believer in them, but the points have never worked out to where you feel like you're getting the value.
Yeah, exactly right. And because you're putting those 4-up invulns on 2-up chassis, your opponent has to be AP3 ignores cover to take you off the 4-up. Or they have to be, AP4. So there was a lot of times when you could just be like, well, if I just play better and don't let them get the melters in melter range, I kind of don't need this. But
you just put them on the Chimeras to give them a better save too.
Well, I was gonna say it's actually kind of cheeky to chuck it on the Chimeras and the hell out. But yeah, he's got 10 Cadians, 10 Catachans, and 20 Deathcore, 2 Chimeras, 2x6 Bulgarin boys. The Bulgarin are back, a Hellhound, and then the full complement of 30 Kassakin 3x10. And yeah, this is an interesting one. The Bulgarin coming back in, he's still taking the 20 Deathcore, despite them going up, I think, 20 plus points. And then, yeah, the Engine Seers those are the 3 points of interest to me. And also, of course, switched from the Tauroxes back to the Chimeras, because now there's not enough points between them to warrant losing all the gun, I guess, that the Chimera brings.
The death core is interesting because granted they are more points, but you do get them back. Like it is
Yeah.
still a value unit.
Yeah.
If the right situation presents itself.
Well, yeah, exactly right. Unless your opponent you're playing in a matchup where your opponent can one shot them, as in like here's one activation dunk. It's very hard to kill that unit because it'll have go to ground, so it'll have an extra save as well, and then they're getting D3 guys back a turn. So in all honesty, if you can't one shot it as an effective like 24, 26 guys in that squad of that 20 man, you can almost think about it in your head. You got to kill 24 wounds, 26 wounds. And yeah, like I love the seeing the Chimeras back in here again. They're going to be toting around the Kazakin and all the Catachans. Of course, the Cadians are going to join the command squad, sticky the home, and probably sit back there and zone out when needed. And then the 2 engine seers. I love the idea of the 4-up invuln on the Chimeras, to be honest. With the scouting the Kazakin up there and getting more utility out of him in matchups where you don't need it on the Dawns. And when you don't need it on the Dawns, it's going to be really apparent. And I'm assuming he's got the engine seers because he's identified there's a lot of AP4 coming out of Knights. There's all those thermal lancers here, there, and everywhere. Some of them are very fast, can get a lot of different angles, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There could be a bunch of other things in Knight armies that are packing, AP4 plus. There's a couple of AP5 guns in there as well, also AP4 and with access to ignores cover. So the 4-up invuln will pay out there. In addition, there's just a bunch of other stuff in the game that is packing higher AP. I'm starting to see Gladiator Lancers come back into a lot of Astartes lists because it is just and Predator Annihilators coming back in as well, which is something you and I talked about as well, Paul. 5 points different from a Predator Annihilator to a Ballistas is actually pretty attractive for the extra shots into the Knight meta because the strength 8 is the wrong break point on the missiles, whereas you just get more las cannon more often.
Reroll the damage. I mean, that's
and exactly for all those people who win more slamming those Canis Rexes into their list, you just be like, well, Predator Annihilator says is annihilate, and you go off pretty well. The second one is Brian Sipe playing.
That was my secret tech, though, that we were talking about. Now it's not secret anymore.
Brian Sipe was your secret tech. He's everyone's secret tech. I apologize.
No, I was talking about the Predator Annihilators.
Hey, we recorded that live on a different show. That wasn't secret.
I mean, not secret anymore.
Brian Sipe is up next with his Grand Coven of Thousand Suns. He has Magnus. This is indexed attachment, if people don't know, just reskinned. Magnus, Exalted Sorcerer on disc with Incandatum. 2 Infernal Masters, one with has the Eldritch Vortex, because of course you would. The Sorcerer with Unprolific Crystal. 3 Zangor Shamans, boys. And then 4 units of 5 Rubiks to tote around the Infernal Masters of the Sorcerers. Single Rhino, 10 Zangors for one of the Shamans, a unit of 6, and unit of 3 Zangor Enlightened for the other 2 Shamans, and 2 Vortex Beasts. Now, when I made an obviously silly call when I reviewed this codex, being like, finally, T-Suns players don't have to play Hero Hammer. And Brian's like, you shut up, you shut your face.
It's
you
hard
don't know
not
anything.
to want to be.
I'm going to Hero Hammer harder than I did before. It's hard. And you're doing it because you kind of need to, in the Grand Coven, you really want to min-max those spells. You want to make sure those spells
you want a psychic phase. You want a really good psychic phase.
Yeah, all 3 spells going off every turn. You want all the buffs, all the debuffs all the time. And the fact is that once you fail it, you can try it again. And I do love that the Zangor Shamans, you can use them to do it, early on. Because one of the issues I found with Thousand Suns players, and this is one of the criticisms people have had of the Rubric detachment, the Rubric Phalanx, is that you will find, because you've got a lot of transports, your Psychers will be in your transports, and you'll have Psychers in reserve. Turn 1 and turn 2, you don't have the spell suite. You don't have all the casts because you're having to, put things out from rhinos at inopportune times or expose things at inopportune times to get your spells off to power up and juice up your army. When what you want to do is getting those things into, nooks and crannies, into engagement, into staging areas. So interesting. I like the Zangor Shamans for that. They're your turn 1 and turn 2 spell generators while everyone works up the board and doesn't have to sacrifice their positioning optimally to try and get off a buff or a debuff.
Are they cheap comparatively? I haven't looked at the points on them recently.
I'll have a quick gaze, but yeah, I do believe they are quite cheap comparatively.
I love what you just said about that whole how to maximize it for the whole 5 turns while you're
Well, it's logistics. It's we don't talk about logistics not enough as players of said game. We always just assume everything's just going to work out all the time, and don't talk about how you guys in the Rhino. I want him to stay in the Rhino, but if I don't get this debuff off on this thing, I'm not sure it's going to die. But then if I get out of the Rhino, he's going to die next turn. So is it worth? Is it? Yeah, you're just adding a bunch of like decision points you don't need.
That's a great subject for our podcast. We talk about all the time about when this unit does X, but we don't talk about how you line up the situation for that unit to do that. They don't always just get to do that. So that's one of the ways that the generalship shines and where the game is set right now. And it's fun to see play out when they line it up. And I think you did describe perfectly probably what Brian's going to be trying to do.
So the Zangor Shamans are 55 each. So they are quite cheap. The Sorcerer is the next cheapest at 75. So 20 points less for the Zangor Shaman over the Sorcerer. And then Infernal Masters are 85, and then Exalted Sorcerer is about the same as well. So yeah, you're saving at least 20 points. And they are your cheapest caster. So I'm a big fan. I think they're great.
The Exalted Sorcerer join the Zangors at that point.
Only if you need to. I
don't think you need to. It's just another
you can
piece,
play this.
Right?
You can play this as just MSU bits and pieces, which is not bad.
Specifically because you called out we're not going to be doing Hero Hammer anymore. So he's like, yeah, no, I'm doing that.
And then your opponent takes Assassinate. And you're like,
13th Warriors of the Thousand
Suns. Anyway, time to pick some winners, boys.
Oh, yeah. So, look, if you're just joining us, if this is your first time, welcome to the Meta Chasers. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the likes and the comments and that kind of stuff. But after we run down these events, we predict which faction or player or whatever reason we pick is going to win this thing. And then for our tier 2 and above Patreon subscribers, we do a recap show where we actually talk about how predictions played out, what actually won the event, the top 10s, and some notable lists. It's a pretty good time if you can and choose to join us over there on that. But that's what we're doing. We're picking our winners here. Then we look back in that other show.
So I think it's only fair that the person in last place in the points should pick. Which is me. So,
well, hang on. You did get 100% of the points last week.
I did, and it didn't change one bit of diddly squat. Nah, it's not fair. We're gonna do the dice.
No, it's fine.
No, it's fine.
This is the last week. It's fine.
It is the last week of the month.
Is it? Oh, geez, and there's just
it is the last week of the month, boys. Man, this one went quick. Really quick. What do I want? I'm going to 50-50 on Nassim or Brian. 1, 2, 3 is Brian. 4, 5. No, Nassim, go on guard.
You couldn't not go guard, Adam.
I couldn't not go guard unless the dice specifically said so.
That's just wrong.
Multiple times. I will 50-50 you two. Dustin, you get to call it. You want the 4, 5, 6 or the 1, 2, 3?
I've been playing NIDS lately, so I want the 3. So 1, 2, 3.
Not 4, 5, 6. It was a 6. It was a beautiful squid. Paul, you're up next.
I'll go Thousand Suns. It seems solid.
Yep, that's
gonna happen. Dusty
now,
boy.
I thought about going to start.
You know what?
To protect points.
Yeah, like it's either Astartes or Imperial Knights.
Which would you prefer, sir? You want me to roll another dice for you? I'm ready.
You roll it.
You call it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3 is Astartes. 4, 5, 6 is Knights.
It's Knights. It was a 5.
Knights. Wow, that die needs to go in a tub of water, man. That's
no. It's my special squid.
It's over there rolling 6, just banging them out. 6s.
Hey, it was a 6 and a 5. All right, I'll give you one more. 4. All right, so we're 6, 5, 4. 3?
3?
No, 2.
Oh, yeah. You counted for it. See, it's accounting for what you said.
I did. It reads my mind. All right, what's up next, boys? This is the amalgam.
Yeah, this is the amalgam of the other events. So we're going to be talking about the Battle for the Capital, Sydney GT, Salzburg Major, Tolaris GT, and a bunch of places and a bunch of stuff. That's what we're going to be talking. This is basically the 4 corners of the globe that we are going to be talking about, and looking at the faction rundown. What looks like 268 total players that are playing in a bunch of 5-round events all over the globe.
So this is United States, Sydney, Australia, Salzburg, so over in Eastern Europe, and Talaris, which is in Spain. So we got 4 very distinct metas represented here.
So we should be a pretty crazy spread around this, then, shouldn't we?
Well, mate, that's going to be interesting to see.
Let's see. Imperial Super Faction, there are 2 Imperial Ages. Now, to be fair, these are 4 different events, so
that's all of them, by the
way. Okay, so business as usual so far.
Yeah, business as usual so far. 8 Sisters of Battle, 9 Custodes, 5 Admech, 7 Astra Militarum, 9 Great. That's 18 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 12 Astartes, 8 Dark Angels, 1 Space Wolf, 17 Blood Angels, 1 Black Templar, and 3 Death Watch. Chaos, there's 12 Chaos Space Marines, 11 T-Suns, 23 Death Guard. There are 2 European tournaments in here. 9 World Eaters, 3 Emperor's Children, 13 Demons, and 8 Chaos Knights. Xenos, there's 20 Necrons, 7 Orcs, 11 Tau, and 8 Votan. Hive Mind, 16 Tyranids. Oh, yeah. And 2 G-Stealer cults. Eldari, there's 3 Drukhari and 17 Eldari. What? I mean, the faction podium is Death Guard topping off with 23. Necrons right behind them with 20. Imperial Knights behind them with 18. Then Blood Angels and Eldari tied in 4th with 17. And then Tyrion is behind them with 16. We were talking about Eldari dropping off the meta, but they did not. What's going on?
They dropped for like a month and a bit, which was enough for the Eldari players to figure out what they wanted to play next, I assume. Paul said this at the time as well.
Well, when you get the hit, right? Like then hit is like, oh my goodness, okay, this is not the same. Let me look at the next set of units in my codex.
It's like a gut shot, like, oh man, Yunari's dead. And then at some point they got over their misery, looked at their book, and I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good.
Actually, more options. It's your council stuff. Cool, all right.
Aspect host, never heard of this.
What's this?
War host? This is outrageous. Yeah, they're totally fine.
If I had a way to use all of these spirit host guys.
Yeah. So no surprises with Death Guard, Necrons, even Imperial Knights, no surprises. Yeah, Eldari and Tyranids are the 2 big surprises here. Also, I mean, we don't know the different context of the terrain formats or the mission formats. So Blood Angels being taken overwhelmingly more than every other Astartes would make Paul very happy.
Obviously.
But they are definitely one to watch and be ready for. Once again, really low Astra Militarum numbers and really low Custodes numbers as well. So
KR pointed that out in the chat, is that they've fallen off the golden cliff.
Yeah, they took a nosedive off the golden cliff. Well, there's only like 10,000.
I mean, what has changed? Like functionally, what has changed?
Death Guard do what they do better.
Yeah,
Death Guard is a better version of Custodes right now, and it's not even a question. It's like undeniably they're better. They wield fights first. They wield way more debuffs. They wield way more buffs. They deliver themselves into combat better. They have virtually the same profiles plus quality shooting, which you can't get on the cheap for like what you can get 3 bloat drones for only like it's like $1 more than 1 Caladius, It feels like, at least. I know it is quite a bit more than that, but that's what it feels like. They get 3 blow drones and can start going into Preds and PVCs, and you're like, I get my 2 Caladius, cost me my whole car. I can't pay rent next week, and I might not kill a rhino. You'll kill a rhino. Believe in yourself. But yeah, so Custodes are going a little bit off a cliff. Unfortunately, they're just being outclassed in what they are. Which is a little sad. And then, like, when their other army, their other skew, that being the Solar Spearhead, has now been outclassed by Knights. So they're kind of rocking a hard place where neither of the things they're doing are best in class, best in show. None of their archetypes are shining at the moment. So, in my opinion, you go back to the talents. You go back to the talents in the shield host, and you just do what brought you to the dance in the first place. Maybe take a few more allies and get a few more pieces in your army. But I think they're fine. They're just like feeling a little rough at the moment. In the
players that were looking for that particular fix of that game, or that can play something else and maybe accomplish it a little bit better. Okay, I see.
Well, I don't know anybody who only plays Custodes. Does anybody know anybody who only plays Custodes? So you got other stuff to play, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the road. Space Wolf only one across 4 events, 1 Space Wolf. I am very excited to see that shift in the coming weeks, of course, with their codex making the full launch pre-order active. The fact that, like, has more Death Watch than both Space Wolves and Templars, I thought was quite funny. Yeah.
The Templars doesn't really surprise me having a lower number, but Space Wolves,
yeah,
that's shocking.
Space Wolves have such a fan base, but I will say the transition from this codex to from the index to the codex is going to be one of the most dramatic shifts in army in model range that Space Wolves pros have possibly ever gone through. So
do you mean because the Thunderwolves are going to take a little bit of a back seat and
a bunch of new units you need to buy?
Oh,
and a bunch of, like, you're going to want head takers pretty much always. You need to get a new Logan. You need to get a new Najal. You need to get a new, but like there's a lot of change now for Space Wolf players. So I wouldn't be surprised if it takes them a couple of weeks to get going, but I do rate that book and I think it's going to do just fine.
If we have any Space Wolf players in the chat, let us know what you are shifting towards if there's a version you're going to want.
All right. I have done 3 detachment breakdowns for this amalgam event. And yes, it took me a long time. And yes, it was worth it because I love you guys and you deserve to know. But of course, so I've done Death Guard, Necrons, and of course I had to do Eldari. So this is all 4 events. And for Death Guard, we have there are a couple. I'm gonna have a little pet peeve here. There was a couple of players who listed themselves incorrectly as factions, and there's a couple of players who I know didn't list factions. Like, so there was 2 of the Eldari players who I went and looked at their list, and one of them was Thousand Suns, and another one was a different faction. And I'm like, you SOBs, you're throwing off my numbers. So if the numbers don't quite add up on the detachment breakdowns, that is exactly why. So of the Death Guard, we have 10 Virulent Victorums, 7 Mortarian's Hammer, 3 Champions of Contagion, and a single Death Lord's Chosen. And what did we all predict, boys, when Death Guard came out? Everyone was going to play Virulent Victorum, but Mortarian's Hammer was going to catch. And it is now, sniffing at the heels of being, equally the most taken of the detachments. And week by week, we've almost been able to track it, that Mortarian's Hammer has been absolutely on the rise. And is that any of that surprise you, boys?
Nope, that's what we were talking about, right?
Yep.
Honestly, the Death Lord's Chosen, I don't think I've seen that on the table yet.
I can't tell you which one that is. I don't know.
I got nothing.
Yeah, so I kind of assume that always the Virulent Victorum is the default. Like, and if you see anything else from that, you've got some kind of secret sauce that you're looking, you think is going to be the.
Yeah,
I see about equal Virulent and equal Mortarians around here. So I'm used to both of those ones. If it's any other than those 2, okay, you're gonna have to tell me what your army does then, because I don't know.
So Virulent Victorian, I see as the the Gladius or the Invasion fleet. It's the all-comers. If you don't know what to play that. Mortarian's Hammer is the kind of Death Guard delivery system activator, where you get you get to throw out your contagions from range. Death Guard get those 6-inch charges really effectively, and it's also quite good for vehicles. And then the Champions of Contagion is all about in my opinion, the Plague Marines and the Blight Lords. So you just smashing characters into those units to take them up to 11 out of 10. If anything, if I was going to do any like big old comparisons between the spicy Marines and the non-spicy Marines, you can always think of your Virulent Victorium as Gladius, Mortarian's Hammer as a spicy Ironstorm, and funnily enough, Champion's Contagion is Death Watch. It's actually a Death Watch build.
So the Death Lord's Chosen does mortal wounds. Basically, if you're in your opponent's command phase, roll 2d6 for each afflicted enemy unit, subtracting 1 from the result. If the unit is below half strength, if the result is 6 or less, the enemy suffers D3 mortal wounds.
It's the Terminator. It's the Terminator one, and all the rest of them. Yeah, beef up your Terminator units. There you go. All right, over to the Necrons of the 20 list and representation. 11 are Awakened Dynasty, 8 are Shatterstar or Star Shatter, sorry, and 1 single solitary Canoptic Court. 0 people are surprised, right?
None, no surprise at all.
I keep waiting to see Canoptic Court come back because I think it's extremely freaking good now and is totally fine. Is it better than
one
the same
person agrees with you?
Yeah, that person.
Yep. No. Right.
You're not the Death Lord's Chosen, but you're Adam's Chosen. But the Canoptic Court, I think, is really strong. But the thing is, people are already arguing that Awakened Dynasty with the Canoptic Court build is better or as good as Canoptic Court, and you still get a blob of like 20 dudes that are, 9 invincible in some matchups. So people are a little iffy on which is better, which is not. But skipping straight over the Necrons.
That's not unfair.
Skipping Necrons because there's nothing really to talk about there. We got Eldari to talk about. Eldari, my mans. This is getting good. So of the Eldari lists, we have 8 Aspect Host, 3 War Host, 2 Seer Council, 1 Spirit Conclave, and 1 Ghost of the Webway, which is, of course, Harlequins. Now, that is interesting.
I mean, I'd willing to bet that those the War Host and the Aspect Host probably, there's a lot of cross-functional units in that, if I had to guess.
I would tend to agree, my man. Dustin, what do you make of it?
I am actually surprised that there's not more Seer Council. I think right now that one actually might have the most play.
Really?
I love the Seer Council. I do.
I think Seer Council is a bit of a sleeper.
I think it is, yeah.
But if you were playing Ynnari and you were looking for the thing that does the same unit configurations as you were playing in Ynnari, what was the next best thing for that list of models? It's Aspect Host and then War Host.
Yeah.
And then Spirit Host is a bit of is a much different archetype. So I'm with you. I think Seer Council, sorry, not Spirit Host, Seer Council is quite good.
Yeah.
But yeah, War Host shenanigans with like the 2 or 3 wave serpents with units jumping in and out of them is kind of BS. If to the uninitiated, that thing will bad touch you the first couple of times.
Yeah,
like it will. But Aspect Host is literally Ynnari. People already taking a huge amount of Aspect Host when Ynnari was in its heyday, and I see that as being like the default. Ynnari's gone. Aspect Host is only like 10-15% worse. It's pretty freaking good, boys.
It is. It is. I might be a little biased too because the Eldar players that I play around here are very, very good. So they play Seer Council, and it's just like, oh, this is. I like this better than Ynnari.
I mean, when you've got a good player who gets fate dice,
that's
yeah,
it's a little scarier.
When a player that's already good at the game can now manipulate dice in their favor, it's pretty good.
Yeah, a good player plus certainty is rough. Yeah,
pretty good.
I can see that.
Would you boys like a bit of a scoring bonanza in this last one?
But it is the last of the month. Let's do
bonanza.
There's 4 events. We're only picking first places. You only get points first place. But if your faction comes first in any of these or multiple of them, you get all the points.
Okay. Ooh.
This sounds like a scheme hatched by someone who
did all the stats. Someone in last place that did all the stats.
Needs a little
don't know why that would be. Don't know why that would be.
Somebody needs a challenge mechanic.
I will pick last. Challenge mechanic. I'm not 6 behind, thank you, Paul.
Are you?
I'm 4 behind. 5. Yeah. All right, boys. So the podium was Death Guard, then Necrons, then Imperial Knights, Blood Angels, Eldari, and Tyranids. So I'm going to pick last because, of course, I did the stats. So it's a little unfair. So Dustin, you can go first, then we'll go Paul, then we'll go me.
Oh, God.
You're just picking first place, but you got 4 chances to get it.
This is tougher than it sounds.
It is actually very tough. This
is casino. This is absolute
it is
roulette.
We're talking about 4 completely different metas.
Technically, you could score 12 points. Technically, this could be the single biggest scoring choice you've ever made on the show.
Don't put pressure on me like that. That's not. Don't do that. Don't do that. I gotta go with the numbers and when I'm good army, I go with Death Guard.
Death Guard. Yep. Paul, what would you like, mate?
I'm putting it all on red.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Blood Angels.
He's doing it. He's doing it. Where do I go from here? I'm not willing to bet on Necrons. I'm back in the Knights. Let's go. Okay.
Yep. That's
all right. All right. Those are the events we're covering this week. If you have not already, like I suggested earlier, please subscribe if you haven't. Please leave us 5-star reviews wherever you happen to listen to us or watch us or whatever. Interact with whatever that platform is, because that's a way to kind of tell the algorithms that you're doing this, other people should be doing this, and we want to do it with them and y'all. Also, thanks for coming and hanging out and doing this. We can, you said subscribe, leave comments now on Spotify. I'm trying to think of all the places where you can do things you couldn't used to do things before. On Amazon, interact wherever you can. Appreciate it.
Amazon. Oh wow, these are new things to me. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's podcasts are everywhere.
Cool. Yep, that I knew.
Just want to make sure that we're engaging with the folks that may be engaging with us on those platforms.
Of course.
So, yeah.
So we're into what, week 2 of the video game greatest of all times thingy bangy, whatever it is.
Yeah, we got to
Explain.
start naming off the actual games themselves and filling up these categories. So I think we have time to do 2 categories tonight since we're going to be in the mood for both. We can do the JRPGs and the RPGs, so we're in the RPG mood.
So this is the segment of the show that sometimes has very little to do with Warhammer 40,000. This is the palate cleanser. We just talked about the meta, stats, winners and losers, crunchy numbers, and here's the time just to kind of ease into your weekend with the Fuego Rapido. We give ourselves a topic to expand upon, and then once we're done with this topic, we never return to it again. But in this case, we have it's a little bit of an exception as we are building out what will be a bracket where we will crown the best video game of all time. We recently crowned the best movie of all time, and if anyone is just joining us, it is Fellowship of the Ring. Sure. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. Sorry, let me get the full title.
Of course.
It's never in doubt.
It was a little in doubt for Paul. A little in doubt.
So how many?
We had to throw votes with our heart, but we all know we have to. We're fine with the conclusion.
So how many are we looking for each category?
We want 16 for each of these categories, so we can have a good 8 and 8 tree.
Yeah.
But if we can't get to that many, that's fine. But I think for these ones, specifically, we can, and we want to make sure that all 3 of us will know the games we're going to be playing. So we'll probably end up combining some of the other ones and the genres, racing, sports, and stuff. Because let's be real. Racing a sport game probably not going to win this anyway. Really?
Nah. Nah.
Can we all agree on that right now?
Yeah.
There's no point in doing that because they have no chance. No chance. So.
And this is different than MMO RPGs.
This is where it would kind of include it in there. But we're going to have one category just kind of if there are any puzzle, sports, racing, any missing ones. Because I think that's where Tetris is going to fit because it needs to be on this list. But
the issue with MMORPGs is that it's World of Warcraft. There's nothing.
Okay.
It's too easy to see.
We will definitely put one. We can put one into the RPGs as a general RPG, but we need to decide which one because there's no way we're doing more than one MMO. And is it not World of Warcraft?
Yeah, it is.
Paul,
it's got.
Do you have a better one?
I have a better one. It's EverQuest is a better one, but
it's a better one.
I'm actually not.
Hasn't lived for 20 years and captured the global everything and hasn't movies made about it. And that's my issue with World of Warcraft. It's just so pervasive.
So what are some RPGs? Fable.
Yes, yep,
nice.
That's a good one.
Nice.
BioShock.
So we're doing RPGs first. Yep.
Yeah, we'll do RPGs first. So I'll put World of Warcraft in here then.
Yeah,
is BioShock? No, BioShock's not an RPG. BioShock's it's first-person shooter, isn't it, or adventure even?
I mean, you're definitely playing as a character who has a story arc and stuff. I mean,
Chat, what's your dig on that? Is BioShock an RPG?
I'm gonna Google it.
And which Fable? We got to be specific. We can't do the general series, otherwise this is gonna get stupid.
Sure.
So which Fable is the best one?
So BioShock is first-person shooter role playing. Yeah.
So it could be either or.
Role playing. Yeah. So I think I think we're gonna have a lot of RPGs. So I think we can safely put it in another one. But yeah, which Fable we speaking of?
I would say it's 1 or 2. It's definitely not 3. Don't say 3.
I was gonna say 2. But
2 I would agree with probably 2. Probably 2.
2, yeah. Diablo
2.
Yep. Diablo 2, I 100% agree with that. Although Diablo 1 is actually it's
pretty good.
It has a feel to Diablo 1 that no game has ever been able to replicate.
Dragon Age and Skyrim.
Dragon Age, absolutely.
100% Skyrim's in.
Yeah. Skyrim, yep. Dragon Age? Dragon Age 1?
I like Dragon Age 1 the most, but that's because it was fresh and new and.
Well, weren't the other ones you started getting into too much of the DLC and
they started getting
shorter than silly.
Dragon Age 2 got a really bad rap, but I actually really enjoyed the story of that one. I have played through it, but 1 is still I think the best.
A couple of great shouts in chat. Yeah, which Fallout and which Mass Effect?
Okay,
I think both of those warrant
Mass Effect is getting in there for sure. Witcher 3, yep, that's getting in there.
Witcher 3, yeah, it's not even debatable which is the best. It's number 3.
Fallout 3 is probably the right one, I think. Yeah.
What do you reckon, Paul? You played many Fallouts?
No, I have not. But I know. So I played Fallout 4, And I will also say that because I play Fallout 4, that Fallout 3 is the best. So
Oh, yep, okay. That's fair. That's fair.
story at the end of Fallout 4. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but like, save your time.
KOTOR 2, yep, that one's got to be in there too. That for sure.
We got Baldur's Gate in there.
Oh yeah,
Baldur's Gate.
Number 3, yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, yep. But
I
shout
mean,
out
do
to
we
the
want to
other
go
Baldur's
back?
games, they were
So
great.
I can't not have a list with like Pool of Radiance. There.
Okay. Do you guys know Knights of the Old Republic? Do you remember those ones?
Yeah, I do.
Between 1 and 2, and I actually do think 1's better.
Okay.
But what do you guys think? Because we can only have one of those.
I don't mind. I didn't play either, so I know of them, but I'll trust people who do play them.
Oh, you had to have played those.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Knights of the Old Republic.
One? Oh yeah.
Which one, first or second?
Which is the? I mean, I'd probably say 1 because without 1 you don't get 2, and I think when most people in their mind they think about it, they are thinking about 1.
I do. Like personally, when I think of
I think it's 1.
Think of 1. I think it's 1. Yeah. Okay, we didn't get Mass Effect in here. We got to get which Mass Effect.
Yeah, I don't know. I only played Mass Effect 1, so I'm not qualified to speak.
Really?
2.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
I almost didn't play it because I didn't. There was a couple of aspects of Mass Effect 1 that I didn't care for a little bit, and then I came back around because I wanted to play through it to play Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
But Mass Effect 2 I think is the best. I mean 3.
Listen, 3's ending when it first came out ruined people's perspective on it for so long, but playing it again, it is a phenomenal game. Like it is so good. It's just a shame that the ending just soured us from it because I'm playing through it again. Like it is just so epic.
When you end the game like that, it feels like a betrayal, even if it's not, even if it is truly the artist's intent. And I respect that. I respect the writers writing the story that they want and ending it the way they want. It just feels like that, with everything you could have done, like as you're playing through the journey, kind of forces you to a certain conclusion.
Yeah, that makes sense. I will say that I do think that Mass Effect 2, like the last mission, the ending of Mass Effect 2, might be one of the best endings in any game ever.
Well, you can defend that when we get to the bracket.
So Mass Effect 2. Then.
I'm sorry, we got to pick which one because it's probably 2.
So, yeah, okay, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4.
But the Pool of Radiance, the D&D games, the like original
Pool of Radiance
on floppy disks. But I don't know. Do we put all the D&D games in there because
we'll pick
Neverwinter Nights and
that's kind of like in the Baldur's Gate category.
Yeah, I thought the Baldur's Gate 3 was the best of that, right?
Yeah,
the other games are the other games are very good, but we're looking for the best of like the series. Otherwise, we can put multiple Fallouts and stuff in, I guess. Apparently, and I didn't know this until I looked it up. Cyberpunk is an RPG.
2077.
Yeah.
Do we think that is worthy going in this list?
So this is where I have not played it yet. I keep waiting to jump into that console that can play it, and I just haven't.
So what I will say is that the game that was released on release was not worthy of making this list, but apparently the game right now is quite fantastic. So I'm iffy. I'm iffy whether it's worthy.
I want to play it.
I don't think.
I know.
At this rate, I don't think we'd be able to give it the right go. So I don't think it's worth putting on for us because it won't make it very far if we haven't really played the new one. Because I played when it first came out too, and it's just like, no.
So, question for you guys: what genre are the Pokemon games in?
That's a good question. Adventure? Are they RPG?
Are they adventure or are they RPG?
I don't think you're RPG. I think you're adventure.
Yeah, I think.
Are they adventure?
That's fair. I just wanted to make sure that we don't get in the comments being like, "Where's the Pokemon Blue and Red?" And the only other one I throw out is apparently Stardew Valley is an RPG.
RPG, yeah.
Yep. And
I know we're missing some. We're definitely
absolutely beloved.
Well, so some of them you're going to fall into the JRPG if we're splitting it up.
Yeah.
Oh,
JRPGs.
JRPGs, we're gonna have lots of those.
I think it's gonna be easy. Yeah.
Ultima 5 is one of the best role-playing games of all time. But maybe
is that a JRPG though?
It's not. No, that's an RPG.
So we'll put that here then.
Ultima 5.
Yeah, Ultima 5. Ultima 5. All right. Still need a couple more.
One more I need to throw out there.
Yeah.
Which Dark Souls is making this?
Are we doing Elden Ring in here too? Is that where that belongs?
Mm.
And are we doing both Elden Ring and Dark Souls? Because I feel like those are kind of.
Yeah, you feel like they cross purpose.
I feel like they cross purpose.
All right, in chat, would you rather see Elden Ring or Dark Souls in here?
Or do we need to put both of them in there so we can knock them out?
Yeah, correct. How many? What number are we up to, by the way?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we need 4 more.
4 more. Okay.
4 more. We leaned a lot.
We did. And we know we're missing some, but we'll Leisure Suit Larry. Honorable mention.
This is a game that I have not played, but I've heard from literally all 3 of my brothers have played it and say it's one of the best games I've ever played. Disco Elysium.
I have actually heard this. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That does belong on here.
And a shout out to Zelda too, but is Zelda?
I think Zelda's adventure.
I think so. I'm weird because I think there's some that are adventure and there's some that are RPGs.
I mean, Arcania at times feels like a RPG, you know.
Yeah, and so does Breath of the Wild. Feels like more RPG.
Yeah, open worldish. When anytime you're in open world, it feels.
Yeah, I think we can have Breath of the Wild here.
You want to put Zelda in here? Ooh, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't feel like it should.
That doesn't feel right. Final Fantasy VI is JRPG Fireblade, but I 100% agree with you. Don't forget about that game. So
yeah,
we'll get there.
So it looks like Elden Ring was the only one that got any votes. So Dark Souls didn't get any votes. So we're going to put Elden Ring.
Elden Ring it is.
I mean, so if we do expand it to, like things like Neverwinter Nights and then things like Pool of Radiance. I mean, those are all like they're D&D based games, but they're different than each other. Baldur's Gate, I think, is the it's very fun, but I mean, to me, it's not better. It's different.
Better than what? Neverwinter Nights? Because if you think then we definitely need to put the Neverwinter Nights in if that's what you believe for sure. We will do that.
I mean, but it's like it's more a question about how we're going to stack in the games.
Well, no, because you're right. It is that different style, and it's more of the older Baldur's Gate. That's why I kind of threw it in the same category, even though it technically isn't, because Baldur's Gate 3 did change a lot. And if you think it's better, then absolutely. It's Neverwinter Night 2, right?
I guess 2 is better than the original.
The original, yeah.
You like the first one better?
The first one, when the first one came out, it was like, this is D&D. Like, they've done it. They've captured it. That was
right.
It felt like there was no compromise, and you had something on the table. Saints
Row 3, that's sandbox. We got a sandbox category for the GTAs and those, like Red Dead Redemption. We need one more for this one. One more for this.
All right, let's see what we got.
Bard's Tale.
Then if you need okay.
Well, do you have one, Adam?
I was going to say, if you don't have Cyberpunk in there, you can put Cyberpunk in there. If we just needed the one to slap in to fill it out, but no, I like Bard's Tale better.
I like Bard's Tale in there. Yeah, Irwin's on board the Neverwinter Night 2, Paul. You got this. You're good.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll put the Bard's Tale in there.
I did play Neverwinter Nights quite a bit and liked it quite a lot. I only played number 2 though. I didn't play number 1.
Oh, that's fair. They're both actually very good. Okay. Do we want to rip through the GRPGs now, or do you want to save it for next week?
Let's do it. I think we're going to fill this one up pretty quick.
All right. I'm starting it off. Chrono Trigger.
I'm going to be controversial. Yeah. Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
Which 100%.
So Kingdom Hearts 3, I guess, is but honestly though, I mean, like, Kingdom Hearts 1 is still just so magic,
So there's actually I gotta put this out here right now because this is gonna get contentious real quick. I think we're gonna have to have a preliminary of Final Fantasies because we cannot pick just one in this.
Final Fantasy 7 is way different than the rest.
Correct. We are going to have multiple Final Fantasies in this because there's so many. And there's so
we can go over 16 in this one. There'll just be a Final Fantasy preliminaries before this one starts.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm totally fine with multiple Final Fantasies just being in the 16. Yeah, but I think we keep it to no more than 3, most likely 2.
Like Final Fantasy 3 or 6, depending on which continuity you're in.
Yeah.
As in the Japanese releases or the Western releases. Like.
Yeah. So 7 just goes in.
6 goes in too. You guys cannot.
6 goes in. 100%.
6
goes in, and then there is just a debate whether there's another one worthy of this list.
So, because I would say 8 is worthy, but I know a lot of people don't agree with that.
I liked 8 a lot, but I think 10's better than 8. For
Really?
example,
See, 10's where they lost me a little bit.
I
When I'm
think
playing
9's
beach
better than
volleyball,
10.
and I think 9's better. I was about to say, then I think 9's better than 10 as well. So like,
Okay.
I think there's at least 2 ahead of 8 in my estimation at least. But I still quite liked 8.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Tactics could be in the turn-based strategy games. We got that one covered in another genre, Fireblade.
Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen.
So specific.
That's the name of the game. It's Nintendo.
Game.
It's a super. Well, I mean, I guess anything can be a strategy game when your heart's not in it.
Oh, all right. I'd like the Yakuza games to get a look in here.
I think those are Sandbox, aren't they?
Are they Sandbox? Oh, okay, so. Fair enough. Yeah. I just googled.
Do we want to put another one of the Final Fantasies in there, or is it we just gonna stick with 7 and 6, and are we happy with that?
I think we can chuck in whichever. Yeah, sure. I don't really mind which one we chuck in past then. I would go with 9 personally. You'd go with 8, Dustin. Paul, you got any opinions?
So as long as we've got something pre-7 in there.
Would you like? Yeah, we got 6. We could go with 3.
I like 4 better than 3. Actually, 2 better than 3 even.
What?
Yeah.
Nah, it's 3. Paul, you agree with 3?
Yeah, I think it's 3. But it's like,
just
which
to hurt
3?
Dustin's feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. 3's in.
What the?
Voted.
This pains me writing this down.
Look, Ogre Battle March of the Black Queen is in, right? We're all agreeing that's in.
Just Ogre Battle. Okay, yeah.
It's a game which is way cooler than it needs to be, and has 2 Queen songs as its title.
Oh,
okay. It's got a Queen song.
2 Queen songs.
Final Fantasy 12. Get out of here, Fireblade. Get out of here. No, that doesn't belong in there. Stick with 6, buddy. Stick with 6. So we got Final Fantasy 7, 6, 3, Chrono Trigger, Kingdom's Heart 3, Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen. There are so many other. Why are we not just firing these off? What am I missing? I loved Valkyrie Profile, but I know you guys probably don't know that one.
Don't even know what that is.
Yeah, so that can't make it then.
Yeah, I think I just realized like most of my experience. We've now hit the games that I've done that I think I've played these so much that I feel like
Yeah.
It's a lot of Xenogears.
Xenogear and Dragon Quest, I think both need to look in.
Which Dragon Quest?
I don't freaking know which Dragon Quest.
You suck.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we're just
I'll find out which one.
We'll just say Dragon Quest for now because it's in there. The Earthbound series could be in there.
Let me quickly look at the top rated.
Oh, Breath of Fire.
Mana.
Breath of Fire. Secret of Mana.
Yes,
that must count.
Yes.
Breath of
Secret of Mana's in there.
Yep.
Apparently, Dragon Quest 11 is the highest rated.
Oh, okay.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of Dragon Quest.
Yeah, Secret of Mana, 100%. Great shout.
Secret of Mana. Oh, I can't believe we almost missed that one.
I know.
Breath of Fire 3. I have 2 on here right now. Do you guys want 3, 2? 4 was actually pretty good too.
4 was pretty good too. My personal favorite was 2 because that's the one I played the most
like 2,
at that time in my life. But I don't mind 2 or 3, whichever.
We're at 10 already, so now we're getting somewhere. Paper Mario's, they were pretty good.
Parasite Eve. Did you guys ever play that?
Yep.
It's quite good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Where do like Resident Evil?
Fantasy Star 4 specifically.
Where does Resident Evil fall into?
I think that's a shooter, third-person shooter.
Action.
Or action.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You're not really making choices. You're just going through the.
Yeah, you're just going through preset.
Yeah. Did you guys ever play Fantasy Star, like Fantasy Star 4, Sega Genesis?
Nope.
I've heard of it, but I've not played it.
Well, that can't go on then. Super Mario RPG.
And if it's that good, I mean,
well, it won't get anywhere if you guys don't know it, right? So it won't get a fair shake. But Super Mario RPG for sure. Right?
Yeah, Super Mario RPG, sure.
Technically a JRPG because it was Nintendo's Japanese company, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll put it in there. It's that style.
How many more we need?
Suikoden is another good one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, Suikoden number 2 could go
11.
in.
We have 11. Yeah, okay. So Suikoden 2. That's 12. So 4 more. Persona. Did you guys ever play the Persona series?
No, but I heard it was quite good. So you can check that in.
Panzer Dragoon, I just saw.
Ooh, yes. I put Persona 4, Panzer Dragoon. Yep. Wow, there's got to be at least 2 more. Chat, help us out. Expedition 33. I don't know that one.
Chuck it in. We can knock it. We can knock it around.
That's the new one, isn't it? I haven't played that yet. That just came out. Is it even a JRPG technically? I can't put that in. None of us have played that one. It's too new. We're the old guys here.
It's not. It's true.
It's true, right? Then we can't. This isn't Pokemon. I'm not putting that in there. We got Secret of Mana.
Earthbound.
I didn't put that in. Yeah, Earthbound definitely needs to go in there. That's what I mentioned that one.
Yeah.
I forgot about it.
Pokemon's coming up as a JRPG. Yeah,
probably certain Pokemon, not.
Yeah, there are specific ones, right?
We can throw Pokemon in there because there's bound to be one that counts, and I hate to be that as vague with it, but
this one lists Gold and Silver, Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah, we can go. We can put that on a different one because we're already at 15. We could easily find a 16th one for this one. Like we just haven't put Lunar is actually pretty good to put in there.
Which Kingdom Hearts did we do?
3.
2. Okay, fair. I would have voted for 2, but I don't really mind. Same thing.
Technically, Final Fantasy VII Remake is a totally different game.
It's not finished.
We're not doing that.
And it is phenomenal.
So I'm looking at the list of the top 5 rated JRPGs and just trying to find the ones that I actually know about. Because there's a bunch here I've never played, and so I wouldn't be comfortable speaking to how good they are.
That's where I think I just realized.
We want to make sure that you guys know them. That's why we haven't put some of them in.
Yeah.
We realize there's going to be some missing on here, but we're only going to be able to do the one like Octopath Traveler.
Well, we played the best. That's why
the best. Exactly.
Right.
They do not get better most of the time.
And that's also the thing that like only the best RPG, like a lot of the early JRPGs didn't make it out of Japan unless they were the best, and so then they made it out west to people like us.
So
Golden Sun is one that I know of and I know is very good and made that list I was speaking of. So if we need to fill out, we chuck that in.
I still think I like Paper Mario as well. Grandia.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely throw Paper Mario if it's not on the list. And then
it's not in there yet. Okay, there we go. Perfect. There we go. We got the list. We got JRPGs and RPGs covered. If there's one that you think should be in here after you listen to this after the fact, let us know in the Discord, Facebook, wherever you want to let us know to make sure we get it covered in another one of the filler genres, or if it can fit somewhere else. We don't want to miss anything in this.
I love a lot of suggestions from the chat. Things like Castlevania and Zelda and some of the other stuff. It's like those will definitely be another.
Yeah, those are definitely other categories. Yes,
like if we have the platformer side scroller games is going to be like very, very hotly contested.
Yes.
Yes.
They'll be very hotly contested.
I got some obscure nonsense to throw at you.
Oh, no. That's our show this week. Thank you, everybody in the chat coming and hanging out with us, and then going down this kind of journey down memory lane as some of these games. We will eventually crown the best video game of all time, undisputed.
Yeah. Can't be disputed.
Will reign champion for here until eternity, until we until a patron says we should rank movies again.
Let's try it again.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna run it back through to see. But what a pleasure talking about the tournaments coming up this weekend. Looking forward to it. I got some tournaments. I'm going to some tournaments coming up soon.
Wonderful.
Is going to be talking about them and playing in them. So keep your ears peeled to the various things that we do to catch up on that. Hope to see some of y'all there. Dustin, Adam, had a great time with y'all this week.
Always do.
See y'all soon, everybody. Yeah, y'all have a great and safe night. Good luck out there. Roll sixes.
Yes.
See you next time.